Hiya guys, happy Monday and welcome back to my channel. Did the National Police Commissioner, Fanie Masemola, just vindicate Shadrack Sibia, who's the Deputy National Police Commissioner? This is after his testimony during the Matlanga Commission, which has been met with a lot of criticism. People saying that he's boring. Why is he reading too much? Does he even know what he's doing? They miss Selo, they miss Mkwanazi. Why is he not dropping names and all of that? We need to understand that these people are two different people, and that the national commissioner is the national commissioner, whereas Ntantla is on the provincial level and probably more on the ground than the national commissioner. National commissioners, they're like ministers. They rarely go to the ground, whereas provincial commissioners and every other people who are in those higher ranks, they go sometimes to the ground, especially people that have the same character and caliber that Mkwanazi has. So the evidence leader is a senior counsel known for leading investigations and report into major corruption and financial scandals. Best known for his work on the VBS Mutual Bank scandal, his forensic report exposing corruption and looting in VBS, which led to prosecutions and a lot of public interest. So this is what the evidence leader is, and that's who he is. So I think that he's just presenting that which Fanie Masemola has already presented to him. Why is it that Miss Selo is not the one leading the evidence? It would not make sense. It wouldn't make sense to have the same evidence leader for different evidences that are from different people, because which means that I'll get to know the evidence of someone else who says something that is implicating this other person. I don't know if that makes sense. I think it definitely makes sense that we have different evidence leaders. Hence, I understand some of the people that are missing Miss Selo, but we have to stick up with the new evidence leader. Another new evidence leader will come. They'll just keep on coming one by one. I think one of the evidence leaders, from what I've seen, from the research that I've done, was on the commission. So you must just brace yourself. There's just a couple of different evidence leaders that are going to be there, and we'll get to hear all of them and maybe decide at the end which one was more interesting. So Fanie Masemola's qualifications is a diploma and a higher diploma in policing. He's been studying or pursuing a master's degree in public management. So that's what his qualifications are. So now let us talk about Lieutenant General Mkwanazi. What are his qualifications? So he has a BTech degree in policing, a national diploma in policing administration, a BA degree in policing, specialized training in counter-terrorism investigation training, bomb disposal certificate, crisis response team training, admitted attorney of the High Court, MBA, as well as the LLB. So he's very much more qualified than the National Police Commissioner, of which it makes you ask yourself and wonder, how did that even happen? That shows you how things are happening in South Africa. But that's not the purpose of the video. These are the reasons why Lieutenant General Mkwanazi felt the need for him to tell us his qualifications, because when someone tells their qualifications, first of all, you start to want to listen to them and be drawn. But when someone doesn't tell you what they qualified for, what makes them to be the national commissioner, when did he start being them, tell us about his journey to being where he is, it makes you ask yourself, is he even qualified? Does he even know what he's doing? Hence, people have just judged him and now they don't take him serious. Number two, Fanie Masemola has just, as I've said, vindicated Shadrack Sibia. When he failed to answer, when he was first asked, made some of us to raise our eyebrows. This is what happened.
The National Commissioner be legally entitled to say to the Minister, Minister, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to act in accordance with your instruction.
Yeah, I take it that, yes, the National Commissioner can say that.
Now let me be direct and ask you about yourself. If you were to find yourself in such a situation, would you disobey the minister? If the minister were to give you an instruction that strays onto operational or managerial matters, would you, General Masemola, say to the minister, I am not going to obey that?
Yeah, it depends, Commissioner, but yes, I will.
This is not the first time he was asked. He was asked again for the second time. And this is how he responded the second time when he was asked.
It's a matter that is career limiting, but
it depends on what?
It depends on how he does it.
It's simple. It's
yes.
Simple. You have said operational and managerial matters are within your remit and not the minister's.
Yes.
So I am saying categorically to you that in what I posit to you, the instruction would be falling outside of the minister's remit and be straying onto operational and managerial matters. It's that clear.
Yeah, no.
Would you, General Masemola, tell the minister, I am not going to obey that?
Yeah, no, I will tell him that I won't do it. But as I said, it depends. So he must explain why doing certain things.
So if he explains himself, would you then obey, even if the instruction still strayed beyond the minister's powers and strayed onto your powers and functions?
Yeah,
I want to understand that depends. So if the minister explained him or herself satisfactorily to you, would you then say, Minister, even though you are encroaching onto my area of function, I will obey you. You are acting unlawfully. You are not acting in accordance with Section 207(2) of the Constitution, but because you have explained satisfactorily to me, I'm going to obey you. Would you say that?
Well, if he explains and I find the reasons acceptable, then I will.
And then he responded the third time. The third time, that's when he said, okay. You can even see from his facial expression that it's like he's tired. He has that thing of, okay, let me just give you what you want. Let me just give you your answer, the answer that you're expecting me to give. It's like he's tired.
General, I am sorry to belabor this, but I just want to understand your thinking. It is not policy. It is not directions as envisaged in 2072 of the Constitution. So if it is none of those, why would you ever obey the instruction? Where would the legal entitlement for the minister to give the instruction come from?
No,
and on what legal basis would you obey it?
Yes, Commissioner. No, if it's very clear that his clear cut is not his, then I will not obey it. I will not do it.
Hence, people have expressed that he's tired, he doesn't have that courage, he doesn't have that thing. And I think that, let us make an analogy when it comes to jurisdiction. Jurisdiction in law, it says that when in order for you to see which court is jurisdiction, you need to check at the cause of action, you check where the defendant is, some of those things that you check, right? And when it comes to this situation of Fanie Masemola, what Fanie Masemola is saying is that the minister had jurisdiction to look at the matter, even when the law doesn't permit him to do so. That is because he was able to provide reasons. Even in law, when a court does not have jurisdiction to hear a matter, that matter is then taken to the right court. It goes through. First, start by submitting a special plea if the matter has not yet been adjudicated. But if it has already been adjudicated, you go through the process of appeal. Talk about the error in terms of the jurisdiction. And I think that's what happened also in this case. Maybe he might have tried to err by speaking to the president, involving the president, but still failed in the process. Then also asking the president to intervene and ask that they assist in ensuring that the political killings task team does not get disbanded. So I think that he did try that on his part, but it was not sufficiently enough. The minister still continued exercising the power that he doesn't have. He still exercised the jurisdiction that he lacks. Doesn't matter if whether you are a minister, you are a what. The law says that. And I guess it goes back to what I said in the beginning. That Mkhwanazi having an LLB and being an admitted attorney gives him that upper hand for him to call a spade a spade. That's something when it's not in line with the law, he can say that this is not in line with the law. Whereas Fanie Masemola's lack of legal background makes him think that as long as there is reasons, then he can jump into operational duties. Jani, how does that even make sense? Because as from the law, he is not supposed to come into no matter how good the reasons are. the minister, the national commissioner has to act. The minister has to not enter into operational, no matter how good the reasons are. More than anything, it goes back to that thing of qualifications and why people like Abomcebo Dlamini during Fees Must Fall outside Hillbrow police station, they said something like this.
If we want to compete with other first world countries, we have to give the police free education. They must study criminal law. They must. The police, so that there won't be unlawful arrest, unlawful search and seizure. They can't write documents. They must be given free education.
I definitely think that our police, especially the National Police Commissioner, needs to have some law of some kind, something that shows that he knows some law. Even if it's just criminal law or civil law, just do something. Even if it's paralegal, just do something that is related to law, because it is you not knowing the law, you knowing your rights, you not knowing the powers, you not knowing a lot of things about how the law runs. It is easy for people to start manipulating you, like what happened with the minister. But with Mkhwanazi, they knew that they can't play with him, because Mkhwanazi is very much experienced. He has the prerequisite qualifications to challenge these people and tell them that no, this is not how things are supposed to be done, this is how things are supposed to be done. So sometimes, to a certain degree, I think that we downplay qualifications, but they are very, very, very much important. When he did that, he showed me as if he's I don't want to say the wrong word, but those people, you see those people who do anything for them to look good to bosses and for them to look like they are compliant, even though they know that whatever that the boss is doing is wrong, it's illegal. And that's what is going on in the situation. Fanie Masemola knows that minister does not have the power, but I don't know if he's back, doesn't want to lose his job or what, but is afraid to say that, no, if the minister was to give me an instruction and it's not his job or his role, I'm supposed to tell him that that is not your job. Just like what Mkhwanazi can say. Mkhwanazi could tell them and say, but that is not your job. You are not supposed to enter into that business. And that seemed as if he's saying that, Fanie Masemola was justified. You are saying that it then makes sense why when he came back from work, when Fanie Masemola came back from work, Shadrack Sibiya was not fired, because he's literally saying that, you know what, Shadrack Sibiya was justified in everything he did. He had all the reasons because he got the instruction directly from the minister. Even Madlanga, as you guys have seen, that even Madlanga is like, are you sure? Because the law says that the minister cannot enter into operational duties, but you are saying that as long as reasonable reasons exist, therefore there is exceptions. There is no exceptions. The law is the way it is. The exception doesn't exist. So I have a problem with that response. And I think it was that response, because it was in the beginning of the proceedings. It was that response that made people to be like, we don't think this man is here for the good reasons and the right things. Another aspect, I think, what would have made him to fail to answer was because of the pressure. I think he dealt with Madlanga. Madlanga is an attorney. And since Madlanga is an attorney, the pressure became too much for him that he couldn't answer the question. And you know how attorneys are. They have a way of trying to take out something out of you that you're not willing or ready to say. And sometimes it will look as if you are lying. And I think he failed because of the pressure that he felt. And also I think that besides everything, from what we've heard from the testimony that he gave, the disbandment of the political task team, it feels like it came because of the pressure that he received from the upper, which is the minister. It doesn't seem like he wanted really for it to be done. It was because of the pressure that came with it, and the fact that, you know, the president, he never got any responses after he asked the president to intervene. The president never came to him and said, okay, these are the results of the meeting that we had. This is what we've decided as the president and the minister with regards to your request. They didn't come to tell him the minutes of that meeting. They just let him be. So I think more than anything, he did exactly the same thing that happened now with the dockets. He took the dockets to the police commissioner, to the task team, and then the minister as well as the president started complaining, saying that, oh, why take those dockets? What we should wait for the commission. I think it's the same thing that happened. He ended up succumbing to the pressure and said that, you know what, let us only deal with the copies and everything. So I think that is that person that just doesn't deal well with pressure. When you pressurize him enough, he will do exactly what you want, of which is very dangerous for a national police commissioner to have that type of behavior. The third thing that I wanted to talk about was the issue of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. When Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi set the stage, one thing you should know is that his testimony seems as if Fanie Masemola was more on the side of the political killings task team. And from the testimony that has been given by Masemola, it seems like he was, because he even alluded to a lot of successes of the political killings task team, like what they've done in Turfloop University, from 600 and something dockets that they found there, and they couldn't continue because there was a lot of interference. And he spoke about people interfering and others, like the councillor who lied so that they can get protection funds and stuff like that. Is one of the things that sabotaged the political killing task team, that made other people to think that it's not working enough. For example, like Dihas, who was saying that these people are wasting taxpayers' money, they are wasting money and all of that. So I think that he was just trying to say that people were taking advantage of their work and their successes, and it seemed as if they are not working enough. But he even said that if it was for him, he would have told, if the minister contacted him first, he would have told the minister that there's a lot of successes more than failures. They found over 300 and something dockets, but by the time they finished investigating in the University of Forte, it was around about 600 and something dockets that are for unresolved matters in the university. So he was trying to show you the successes of the political killings task team, and he doesn't seem like a man that can come name and shame, say who is who, what did who, with what and when. He doesn't seem like that person, unlike Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi was here to tell everybody the truth, and I think that's why I'm saying that he's more, it's like he's adding more on what Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has already said.
That's how complex it was, and in some cases, especially of cases of intimidation and attempted murders, councillors will go as far as getting into their cars and say somebody must shoot, but just make sure you shoot just on the shoe, don't shoot too deep on the bone. And in that process, sometimes because the person is in the boot, you shoot from outside, always an accident happens, then they get seriously injured, and that was done purely to derive to fight for protection, to say one's bodyguard, I've been shot at. But when investigations at later stage, sometimes it reveals that no, but where you say there was a shooting, it was only you and the protector who was there, or it was somebody, not a protector. So then they will then confess that, yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that I get a budget from municipality for protection. That's how.
He's talking about the statistics part of things as the national commissioner, because he's getting these things from different provinces, unlike the provincial national commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. He's mostly basing everything on the work that he has done in KZN, whereas the national commissioner is basing it on the statistics of all these provinces. The people that are very important here, who maybe might make everybody think that, oh, we are watching some Hollywood movie or some action or some horror or some whatever that you want to see it, it's when Shadrach Sibia as well as Senzo Mchunu come, because those people are very, very important. They're the one who have the final juice as to why the political killings task team was disbanded and all of those reasons that are around that, because there's still the overarching issue of the political killings task team. So I think those people, their testimony will be more interesting, but I think that also there's a lot of important aspects that Fanie Masemola is talking about, as some of the ones that I've already referenced, especially the issue of pressure and the role of the president. The president is as guilty as Senzo Mchunu. The president is as guilty as Senzo Mchunu, and that's my view when it comes to this whole situation. Remember, we are where we are because of this disbandment of the political killing task team. We want to understand why disband the team when it was doing really well, especially now with what Fanie Masemola has said, that there's a lot of successes than failures. Yes, there were sabotages from people who took advantage of the team and the investigations, but at the end of the day, they did really well. And I think now we want to ask ourselves, but I just don't like how the commissioner vindicated the deputy national commissioner, because it makes you wonder, like, so you guys are putting this minister so much above the law, even if the law says that this man has these powers that are limited to this. You don't have enough confidence and enough knowledge to tell the person that this is not in your jurisdiction. This is not the powers that you have. Your powers are very much limited. Our police reaching to a point whereby they worship ministers, that even if ministers do things that are out of law, they are justified. Hence, he didn't discipline that guy. He didn't even suspend him immediately when he realized that he disobeyed his commands. So I don't know what you guys think about these updates. Please tell me your thoughts about the testimony that is being given so far by Fanie Masemola, and that you think that you expected something that he was going to talk about but he didn't talk about. But I think that let us give him time, let us see if his testimony ends today, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a long testimony. Otherwise, I think his character, he doesn't have that character that is so hardcore like Mkwanazi. He seems like, you know, he's a very calm person, and as I've said, he doesn't deal with pressure, and I think that's why they played on his head like this. And that's what these people normally do. When they see that you are not that person that fights too much, they play with your goodness, they play with your calmness, and end up taking advantage of that. I don't know what you guys think. Please comment your thoughts about everything. Do you think that these police officers, they have to have some level of legal qualification? I think that it's definitely very important for them to have it. And what level of legal qualification? Or you just think that it doesn't matter even if they don't have a level of legal qualification? What was a problem with when it comes to Fanie Masemola was because of the pressure. He received too much pressure from the minister and failed. He was failed also by the president. And when these upper people, both of them, don't respond, he just took it as if, you know what, no one is on my side. Let us end this whole thing and just try to move on. What do you think, guys, about the testimony so far? Let me see you on my next upload. Bye.